All right, we are live, everybody. I said we were an hour early. I guess we're half an hour early. I could explain a bunch of reasons why we're late. You don't really care. I understand. I would say the same thing. But we're here for the UFC fight night from. I don't know if they're calling it UFC from Paris or not. We're back in Paris. Cyril Gane taking on Serghei Spivac in the main event. We have two fights that got put together like last second as well. We have like 7 debuting fighters, a couple return fighters. We have Zarin, Farron on the card. I mean, we got everything here for you. So I apologize for the delay. With me, just my 2 cents. Coming off another very strong week. Been a couple strong weeks for us, 3 or 4 in a row now. And I got the Charles Oliveira chin today because that's the mood I'm in. I'm not in a dude mood. Just my 2 cents. How you doing?
I am good, man. Thank you as always for having me. We're here for this cobbled together ass UFC Paris card. It's a fight card, but nah, man, I'm happy to be here. And shout out to you and everyone in the chat. Let's have another good week, boys.
We got Jack Attack. We got Lou Betcha. We got Justin. We got Moises in here earlier, dreaming of his Zhang Li. I'll put the Zhang Li together on the show today because I did not do it ahead of time. But we're going to get into this card. It's 11 fights. I mentioned Zarin Farron, and believe it or not, the 6-5 featherweight, sometimes bantamweight. Now it's going to be a catchweight. Believe it or not, it's the first fight of the night against Jacqueline Cavalcante. I'll be honest here. Like, Cavalcante just has – we know what Zarin Farron has at this point. She's like a decent boxer. She didn't look bad against Josiah Nunes. She kind of outlasted her, and then I personally think she won the fight with the volume. But either way, I'll just bring in just my second co-host. We just getting started here. Jewish Bettor, sorry for the delay, but how you doing?
Yeah, man. No, I could not miss talking about Zara Farron versus Jacqueline Cavalcante.
Yeah, it gets us all up in the morning. I mean, this is a fight that, like, for me, Zarin Farron is like a decent boxer. She's got good volume, I guess, but like, she's 13 years older, doesn't have a ground game of any sort. And Cavalcante training with much better kind of level of girls her size, trains with Tabitha Ricci, Rodriguez, trains with Sabina Mazo. So all the LFA champions sticking together for whatever reason. But 13 years younger, she throws a lot more variety than Zara. And I honestly, I think that Cavalcante is the side here, but like, I'm not rushing to bet either side on this one. And it's more just, we know what Zara Farron has, and it's pretty much a little bit of movement and some boxing. And I don't know if she can make 140 even. But Cavalcante lost to Jindarova, who is not an impressive at all. It was the only, kind of fight that Cavalcante's had that really, I feel like, shows her test level. I get she has a fight against Nora or whatever, the girl later on the card as well. That was early in both their careers. So I'll go with Cavalcante here. It's not one I'm getting behind too confidently, mostly based on Cavalcante being able to throw more variety of strikes, different levels. But Zara could easily eke out a decision. This might be a split candidate right off the bat, to be honest with you. So, close, low level, 140 fight. Just my 2 cents. Are you with the youth? 13 years youth in Cavalcante, almost 14 years younger, actually. Or are you going with the 40-year-old French woman?
Like, what's more fucked up? Zara Farron still fighting, or the fact that I like kind of want to pick her here? Like, I don't know.
I think a lot of people want to pick her here, dude.
You were just talking about that Jindrova fight or whatever. I was just watching that before I got on here, and dude, she won't looking too hot there. I know she ended up losing that fight as a close one, but I'm not touching this one. I might just pick Zara Farron just because it's in France and fucking, I don't know. This fight sucks. I'll pick Zara Farron just for the sake of the show, but I'm not touching it. What up, JB?
Yeah.
What up?
You got. I know you're real passionate about this fight. Better give us your wisdom on which side you side with and how you see this one going.
Yeah, man. I think. Sorry, I'm smoking over here. I think if you ask me,
for that ever.
all good, all good. So I think if you ask me who wins this fight flat out, it's probably Cavalcante, just based off of the third round. I think round one. I think round one could be pretty close. I think it's probably going to go to Zara Farron. I think her striking, it lives a little bit technically to be lacking. I think she can throw. I think the judges are going to be favoring her at home. I think the crowd is going to be into it. And she's also training at a new camp, which we've seen, even older fighters, training at a new camp could help them sometimes. So I think the number's just a little bit off here on Zara Farron, which would, make me take a look at it on a women's underdog fight. It's going to be pretty sloppy. But I think you guys nailed it on the head. Kind of just pass on this fight. Get some information on Cavalcante. She only has 6 fights, and none of them have been against UFC competition. I think this is just going to be a data fight on Cavalcante. See what she can do in the UFC because her number is unbettable for me here.
Minus 375, and her only other fight of relevance was Nora Cornoli, which they were both 1-0 and 0-0. Melissa Croden in the last fight. I will say I do like Melissa Croden. I'm not sure how good of a fighter she is. Minus 375 is insane. I mean, again, that's why you're seeing Sarah and Farron love this week is that it's a plus 300 underdog in a low-level women's fight. So if you bet it, congratulations, but you're not ahead of the game or anything. This does fit my rule of if it's plus 200 or worse in lower-level women's MMA, you bet the dog. So I get anybody betting the dog, but I agree. I think the more value is in the data here. So again, the card starts at noon on Saturday. So, and I think every time Zara throws a punch, they're going to be going crazy for her as well. I think that's
absolutely.
She's also very known within the French community for supporting a lot of very notable causes. So again, these are things you don't want to bet a minus 375. I don't know who would bet Cavalcante at that. That's just terrible. We're onto another minus 300 favorite, Farid Bachelorette, taking on Clayton Rodriguez here. And I like Farid of the Bachelorette brothers. I like Farid a little bit more myself. I feel that he's a little more aggressive, which I prefer a little bit. And I think that the range that he can keep this fight at, striking and that kicking range, is a range that Clayton Rodriguez is often willing to stay in. And I think that would be a big mistake here. I think that with Clayton, I think pressure and, pace early on to try to get this fight done, I think inside the first round would be a better approach. I'm curious to see how he responds to 135 as well. And I just think against a guy like Farid, who has the high IQ ability to kind of slow down the pace and drag out the fight a little bit more, someone like Clayton Rodriguez, I think has to make it more of a dogfight. And I do think he has to kind of be aggressive. I know he's not facing Shannon Ross here, so I'm not saying he goes in with that same game plan. But at the same point, I think it's a tough cut. I think it's going to be a tough first fight at 135 for Clayton. I think Farid, is able to keep this at a range where he's more safe on the feet. And I think with regards to the grappling, I favor him as well. I think there's a significant advantage to this being his class as well, but I also don't like the number that much. I did get him a little bit earlier in the week when it was closer to minus 300, put him in a kind of a no thought parlay, but not other than that, I'm really not looking to play that level. I do think the Bachelorets are going to get exposed at some point, both of them, but I just think that Clayton is not the guy to do it here. I know he's had some moments against some good fighters. I know there was some love on him with the Tatsu Taira fight, but I think this is a little bit different of a situation. So I got Bachelorette, but Clayton might look like a new man at 135. So who knows? And Bachelorettes are waiting to get finished, both of them, in my opinion, at some point. I just don't think it's here. So, JB.
Yeah, dude, I don't think it's here, and I think you're right. But the thing with him going up to 135, I think it takes away a lot of his advantages that he had at 125, right? Is the power and being able to finish with that one shot. And I just don't know how much I rate his last win after watching Shannon Ross just kind of have not the best UFC run whatsoever. Um, and before that, he was getting controlled on the mat by CJ Vergara. So when I talk about the data, like that's something the eye test as well. Just watching it, right? We saw him get taken down, controlled, while Fareed's having the better of the grappling with Damon Blackshear, who's actually I think would maul Clayton himself. So let me take Basharat here. I would put him in a parlay. Maybe parlay him next week with like Adesanya or something.
Yeah.
You add him into some type of parlay with both of them and a few other favorites.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Also, like you don't kill yourself to get down to 125 if you're confident at 135. And he did it multiple fights in a row where he's like, no, let me try one more time. And yeah, I think that's a really good point right there. And again, if you put Blackshear in against Clayton Rodriguez here, I'm not sure the line's very different. And we saw how Fareed took that short notice fight against Blackshear. So I like all those points a lot. Just my 2 cents. You got any hot takes on this one?
Yeah, let me just go ahead and form the Bachelorette Voltron here. He's one of my more confident plays this week in picks. Great points by both you gentlemen. You mentioned Shannon Ross. Way too big of a jump up from Shannon Ross. Vergara isn't a bad loss necessarily, but I think Basharat's a better grappler. I don't know how Clayton's going to look at 35, but some of the things the fighters can lose when they go up is like JB said, he can lose some of his physical advantages. And also, I don't know how his cardio is going to look necessarily. He's going to be carrying a little extra weight. I don't know if that's going to make him heavier or whatever, but I don't even know if he's able to survive the 3 rounds. I think Basharat can maybe get him out of there in the 3rd. Maybe sub him. Basharat just does too many things that I like. He's got good cardio. He's a lengthy striker, and he likes staying, like you said, at long range. I love that he works behind a consistent jab. I think that jab is going to turn Clayton's face into fucking hamburger meat. And yeah, Basharat might get him out of there, but I felt perfectly comfortable parlaying him at minus 300. And like I said, it's one of my more confident picks this week.
Yeah, I talked with just my 2 cents. I DM'd him kind of a no thought parlay, and Fareed was in there. And it's like, yeah, the number might be slightly off, but that's the world we live in at this point. Most of the numbers
for sure. I think for me, I'm just going to throw him in some type of small parlay with a bunch of other people that I think are going to win.
Yeah. So if that doesn't sound like a Zhongli candidate, I don't know what is. Promise no one from the first fight's in there. All right, we're back down to the middling women's division. All right, I watched Nora's fights, man. I mean, she's really good at beating up very small fire hydrant looking women. Okay, like it's just like maybe she comes in here and like she puts the cage pressure on Jocelyn Edwards, and Edwards just hangs out with her back against the cage like we've seen her do before. And I mean, Edwards she beats a certain level, and it's under a Jessica Rose Clark like level. So it's just like, I don't know, Nora much like I think of these 2 girls, Jocelyn Edwards is the more well-rounded, better MMA fighter. But God, I mean, it's just like with Nora fought nobody. This is just a real bum fight, man. This should be on an Invicta, and I don't break down Invictas for this reason, because this is how I kind of feel about this level of women's MMA. They both could beat my ass. You're right. Congratulate. Like, this isn't Jocelyn Edwards by BMF, better mixed martial arts fighter. I'm not putting $1 on this. It's not going in my full card parlay. It's not going in anything, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I'd love to see Nora win just because we know what we got with Jocelyn Edwards already. It ain't much. But I know that Timmy likes Jocelyn Edwards Badunda. So that's, good enough reason for me to pick Jocelyn Edwards. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm not spending $1 on this, and I'm not spending more than 15 or 20 seconds talking about it. I love the fatter ass theory here. Shout out to homie Noah. Yeah, Jocelyn Edwards by just having a bigger tater. Yeah, Edwards.
2 on the Edwards train. Just the Jewish Bettor left, and he's probably embarrassed to be a part of this.
Nah, dude, nah. I would palm her red ass afro from the back, dog. No doubt. You already know. So, nah, I'm gonna give you a legit breakdown. The thing with Cornell is like another one with those that we don't have a lot of data on her, and I just don't like to bring level of competition when it comes to women's MMA. I just gotta give you what you see on film, and like she's getting these girls out of there, so it's not like she's going to decision with these girls who are just not supposed to be in there. Jocelyn Edwards, she has okay striking. The thing is with her last 2 fights is they're both split decisions, right? Those could have went either way. She could be 1-4 in her last 5 UFC fights, and that's not profitable. The thing is she is barely eking out these decisions. I don't trust either side here to get the job done. I'm gonna sit back and watch Cornell. And if I'm betting on Edwards' side, it's probably going to go to decision. And if Cornell is able to keep it close, how do I know the French judges aren't going to give it to the hometown fighter?
I would not bet either one of these first 2 fights, like the first 2 women's fights. So, yeah, I will sit back and watch as well. We're all with Timmy here on Jocelyn. But, yeah, no bets here. Last I checked, I think Jocelyn is the favorite. Yeah, it's still pick 'em -110 both sides now. And then Clayton Rodriguez plus 270 to -340 of Farid, by the way, as well. It looks like with the Farid Clayton fight, they're expecting it to go to decision. I kind of don't hate a shot on the under 2.5 at +155 in the Clayton Farid fight as well. I think both have finishing upside to their games. Honestly, here I actually don't think that will go to decision. I think a lot of that's based on Farid's first couple fights going to decision. So just a little thing there. I might be playing that under 2.5 at plus money. But yeah, Jocelyn Edwards and Nora Cornholio -165 to 2.5 over 2.5. So they don't know what to expect either. They're like, it's not like, that's not a bad line on the over 2.5 though. I would expect it to go to decision. But we're going to move on to an actual fight. And this one could be in Cage Warriors. It's in the UFC. Ange Loosa taking on the return of Reese McKee. I like Skeletor a lot, Reese McKee, honestly. I think that the way he was first introduced to the UFC was pretty rough. But yeah, it's gone back over to Cage Warriors. And he's a good sized welterweight. I like him. I like his length particularly. The level of competition he's faced has been pretty good as well since leaving the UFC. He went 0-2 in the UFC against Morano and Chimaev. But Alexei Minikiev, very good finish fighter, and putting him away the way he did. Justin Burleson kind of got exposed by Johan Lioness, but still did what he needed to do there. And then he got, the legend out of there in Jim Wallhead. Ange Loosa is going to, often fight his fights kind of at, again, a range that I think Reese McKee is more comfortable in. And with Reese McKee, I just favor his overall ability to put the volume and to put the cardio on Loosa as this fight gets extended. I haven't been super impressed by Loosa's run so far in the UFC either. So this is one that I am considering a dog shot on. Right now I have yet to pull the trigger, but I do have Reese McKee winning a decision here. I think that it's going to be a close fight. I think they're pretty well matched, but I like how Reese McKee really kind of increases the volume, increases the pressure as the fight goes on. And I mean, I get, the Chimaev fight happened, but it is what it is. And so, not really relevant here. I think this is going to be a close fight. And I think the number is a little bit off here. So I'm starting to think the Reese side with Skeletor. I got him by decision. JB.
Dude,
Dude, I do think this is a little closer to an even pick'em spot. I think Reese McKee fought a higher level of competition when he was in the UFC, and I don't know. I don't really rate the AJ Fletcher win that highly. AJ Fletcher is this kind of short, stocky guy, small arms, not the best UFC. I don't even I know how far he's going to really make it in the UFC himself. So Andre Lusa, the fight before that, I think he fought Munir Lazez, and Lazez 30-27. I'm on the scorecards. So you're telling me Reese McKee as an underdog couldn't do that here? I think a lot of love coming in for Lusa as well from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
But really the play I like is the over 2.5 here at -140. I think Reese is pretty durable. He's been finished before by Khamzat Chimaev, and then once before pre-UFC by Tim. I forget the guy's last name, but I like Andre Lusa to be the guy who has the more finishing potential here. I don't believe Lusa's ever been finished, if I'm not mistaken. He kind of has that shell up defense where he'll he strictly almost goes to that shell up defense. He doesn't really use his footwork too much. I think, Reese McKee himself isn't a power puncher. If he's able to avoid the big shot from Lusa, I don't think a sub is going to happen on the ground. So I'm going over 2.5. I think you're getting that good number because Reese McKee's fights in the past haven't necessarily went the distance.
Right.
But I think this is a good spot when you look at it analytically and just from a matchup standpoint.
The higher the levels get, the more likely you're to have that first decision when you're a guy with a lot of decision or not a lot of decision wins. I mean, I think you see that a lot. I think so. I don't hate that at all. And then, Lou, you're mentioning McKee 0 decks in his deck wins in his life. Lou has a brick head. First time for every. I don't think Reese McKee is unable to win a decision. I think he just puts the pressure on and gets these guys out of there in the third round. We've seen his last 2 fights, he's got him out in the third round. I think he could wear down Lusa. He might be cashing at 2.5 and cashing a finish too. Who knows? Those are always the funnest. So getting over 2.5, maybe last minute finish. We'll all go home happy. But again, this number I think is kind of based on people being like, oh, that's the guy that Khamzat Chimaev murdered. And it's like the thing.
He went the distance for Alex Morono.
Right.
Come
exactly.
on.
Right. And I'll get to you in a second, just my 2 cents. But the thing about, McKee also, and I do often look at these guys who get the return shots to the UFC is what level of competition they're going after they leave the UFC. Sometimes you'll kind of just see guys who clearly are just going to get a couple wins and they don't care who it's against. He went against Manikivi, who was on a roll at the time and a real dangerous striker himself. Burlinson, huge 170er, and also was at one point thought to be that guy. And then Jim Wallhead, it is what it is. But Jim Wallhead kind of has a similar similar structure and type of fighting to Lusa, actually. So in a lot of ways, it actually is a relevant competition as well. So plus 150 on Reese McKee right now. I'm thinking more about it, but just my 2 cents. What's your thoughts on this one?
Y'all want to hear a funny joke that will make you feel better about yourselves, both as men and as predictors and in this game?
Always.
I'm Jewish.
I, as a matter of
Keep that in mind.
your old bud, just my 2 cents. As a matter of fact, picked one Reese Skeletor McKee over Ratlip. I actually picked him over Khamzat. That's the joke. But I rate Reese's striking and overall fight game a little bit higher than some people do, but I am on the Angelusa side.
Okay.
It's not something I feel super confident about.
You picked Khamzat? Wait, you picked him versus Khamzat?
Oh, yeah, dude.
But now you're picking Angelusa? All right, dog, I got to hear this one.
I'm telling you, dude, this shit just writes itself. So, yeah. The line where it's at right now, I was just looking at best fight odds. I think Angelusa being minus 150 is fair. Just because I think he is the BMF here, the better overall mixed martial artist. I think if he wrestles here, he's going to look over minus 150, honestly. But on the feet, if they're just striking, that's kind of McKee's wheelhouse. He's a long, lanky striker. He has a good clinch game. He has pretty decent power. And Lusa, he will tend to shell up. And man, I don't know. Like, as far as who the crowd's going to be rooting for, I don't really know. I'm not touching this fight. When I first looked at the Lusa line on the square book that I've been using, it was almost minus 200, and so that's just unplayable for me. And like, the more, if it does start to climb anymore, like for Lusa, I feel like it's getting more and more to the McKee side. But I'm going to pick Ange Lusa just to kind of like, if it does get hairy on the feet and he wrestles, I think he'll look way better than McKee on the ground. So give me Lusa, no play. But yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, it's basically, is Lusa going dusty or not? If he goes dusty, it seems like everybody loves Lusa. If he doesn't, it seems people like Reese. We've seen Lusa in the past keep fights standing he shouldn't, including against one of those Chris Duncan guys. So, I don't know if you know anything about Chris Duncan, but
Lusa will hold his ground and McKee will just Terminator fucking walk forward. So they could just be like running into each other and had some weird like boxing or like, close range shit.
It is why I've been hesitant to bet it yet. Just because if Lusa does wrestle, I hate losing a bet to just seeing a average wrestler look good, because that is how you beat Reese. But and the last few fights have been primarily against strikers, and then he went against Jim Wallhead, who's 40 years old and doesn't really know how to use his judo anymore. All right, Colin Lothran versus Taylor Lapoulis. This is a really, really interesting fight. I'm honestly, I think Colin's in for kind of a rude awakening here, though, in his debut. I have had my moments where I faded the Don in his Cage Warriors run. I'll be honest. I believe I picked the 1-0 Oriakale against him, and Oriakale just got smoked in that fight. That was definitely a mistake. I also picked Luke Shanks against him. Luke Shanks is a 125er, moved up to 135 for the fight, and Colin just kind of handled him. Colin, very, very physical, very strong, and, has increased his level of competition over his last few. The Festus Oralahu fight was really impressive as well. Taylor Lapoulis is just so experienced, though, and very well-rounded, and I think mixes it up in a way that I think, honestly, Colin's going to struggle with quite a bit in this spot. I think that Taylor's been facing a much better level of competition. DeMarte Pena in his last fight, putting him away, an undefeated fighter. Wilson Hayes, really good decision win there. The Breno fight from Aries, also another fight that really impressive. Put away Nate Menace before he made it over to the UFC. Josh Hill, like, he's facing a level of competition that Colin has not faced yet. Dylan Hazard is fine, but a little bit, of an untested Italian wrestler at that. So it's where Colin was coming in with, I think, a much more favorable matchup. For this to be his matchup on short notice, fight week, all the advantages are to Taylor for me in this spot. So I like Taylor a lot. I think he wins this fight most likely by decision, just because Taylor is a lot more methodical. I just think that he'll just have to kind of be careful of Colin in the early round or two, honestly, because I do think he'll frustrate as the fight goes, and I think Taylor should be favored. And yeah, Taylor's like very, very fortunate here because he's going against a high-profile debuting fighter now, and I think it's going to help get him much more relevant fights because Colin's going to make a lot of noise this week. I think that Colin's going to have the crowd completely at his throat as well. The French crowd is not going to like Colin. Colin's going to kind of go into that. It's really insane, like, that this matchup is being made, because I think that if the UFC really wanted to kind of manage a new Irish superstar in Colin, they would not be doing this. But if he wins this fight, it's to the moon, honestly, because Taylor has earned his UFC run back here. He's no joke. So I'm super pumped for this fight now, but I like Taylor. I just think I trust what I've seen, and I think Colin, is taking it just too far of a step up here, and on short notice at that. So 2 cents.
Dude, you said it, homie. This fight is fucking sick, and all the pissing and moaning I was doing about this being cobbled together and shit, this is one where it actually like works out for the better for everybody. Because like I said, it's like a win-win. Yeah, it like Colin's getting a tougher opponent, but it's also a more respected opponent. It's a French dude. If he whoops him in Taylor's backyard, like
he's gonna be on a main card of a
dude, exactly. Yeah,
soon.
it's going to raise his stock immediately, like more than it would have originally. And for Lapalus, like kind of the same thing for him. Like, yeah, it's in France, but like they're probably going to be more familiar with Cage Warriors and like Cage Warrior fighters than other people would. And it's not like Colin's like fan base is going to have to travel that much further. Like it's going to be way easier for them to like travel to Paris than it would be to fucking,
I'm
Vegas.
pretty sure the French hate the Irish though.
Yes,
so, like,
that is true. Yeah, absolutely. It will be a very pro-French crowd. But I'm just saying, if he beats him, like, it will also probably put a little more, like, shine and respect on Colin than it would have otherwise. Or I mean, if Taylor beats him, they'll be like, okay, this is at least a known undefeated Cage Warriors dude. I just think it's a win-win for both of them. The fight itself, like, I don't really know, man. Like, I'm more familiar with Taylor Lapalus. I've taped him obviously like while I taped Nate Maness fights in the past. He has good wins and kind of like sketchy losses. Like he lost to fucking Eric Perez. Like that's not a great look, but I do think he has improved since then. I have taped some of Colin Loughran. This is a big step up for him though. Like the dude that he was going to get compared to Lapalus, a dude that has like professional striking and MMA experience. I'm going to pick Colin Loughran. Maybe it's the quarter Irish in me just being a little biased, but I could see Taylor winning this fight. Absolutely. If it goes to the cards, I would not want to be holding a Colin ticket, but yeah, let me pick Loughran. I think he might, I don't know, maybe win some of the moments, maybe be a little bit more BMF-y, but sweet fight though, dude. I kind of just want to see what happens. No action for me.
Fair. JB.
Yeah, the thing with this fight is it's kind of last moment, right? And who knows how either guy's gonna, react to that short notice. They got to change it up a little bit. Are they going to be more aggressive coming right out the rip, or are they going to be, a little bit more careful, try and gather their reads? Thing with Lachlan too is this is probably his toughest test, right? So far in his career. He's been able to finish a lot of these guys. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be able to finish Lapalus, and what's his decision equity? Like how does he go and fare, against a guy who's not going to just fold and go out of there? No. So I think this over is going to be one that I'm looking at when the lines come out. I got to do a little bit more film on the fight itself, but I will go with Lapalus, the hometown guy. But I'm looking for over. I don't believe Lapalus ever been finished in his career, and on the other end, he's undefeated. The other guy, so he's never been finished either. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna go with over in this spot, unless it's juice to the gills. But I'm hoping it's not, because both guys have finishes on their record. So
yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree. I don't see any line on that yet, but yeah, it's So I'm on Taylor. I just do like his ability to kind of adjust to the short notice and everything more likely, but yeah, we don't know till the fight. All right, this is definitely one of the fights on the card that I'm very excited about. Morgan Charrier taking on Manolo Zecchini. Yeah, with Morgan, he's like his own worst enemy in so many of these fights. Like, he just sometimes will show up and it's like he does not have it tonight. He's just not getting it going. And it's just always going to make it very stressful to bet on his fights, honestly. And when he's a minus 340 favorite in his debut here against the Italian, I don't hate it, but it's not one I'm going to be rushing to get the tickets on. He's a very aggressive striker for the most part. So, he's going to go in there and be very aggressive in Manolo. With the strikes, I just don't really think he has much of a well-rounded game here. And with Morgan, he's definitely the more well-rounded fighter. He's the more well-tested fighter, Cage Warriors champion, but he just has moments that, he just absolutely doesn't show up and gives away decisions. He's never been finished by strikes, which I like, obviously. The guys he's losing to are, for the most part, pretty good. Vucenic, Paul Hughes, Sorenbach, and he's losing these all by majority or split decision. That's why it's so frustrating. He loses to guys I think he could have easily beaten with just a little more kind of volume, but sometimes he just gets into the kind of modes where he is not engaging. He's letting his opponent get off the aggression. And I mean, against some aggressive guy like Manolo, he's not going to be looking for a decision. I don't think he puts it together. But again, like he's gotten split decisions with guys like Daniel Bazant, like 7-3 fighter. Like, and it's just very frustrating. Took him till the end of the third round against Diego Silva when there was a lot of spots early as well. So you're going to be holding your breath a lot with a guy like Morgan. I think Manolo, though, doesn't have much of a shot other than the KO. So Morgan should win this one, but Manolo being the aggressive, assertive party and winning a decision, it would surprise me. It wouldn't shock me. So minus 340 Morgan, I want nothing to do with. I think overs and Morgan fights are always the side I'm going with because you just can't really know. So I'll go with Jewish Bettor to start if you're good. Otherwise, I can go to 2 cents.
Nah, you could go to 2 cents. I'm eating some food right now. My bad.
You're good. 2 cents.
So I do sort of like the Farron Bachelorette fight. Like if I was to look at it now, I probably wouldn't play it. But I parlayed Morgan Chalaye minus 300 for this. I think he's the better fighter. I didn't do a ton of tape study, but when I started to watch his fights and highlight videos and stuff, I just like, this guy's the side. He's young. He does have more experience. He's a more well-rounded fighter. And the thing with Zucchini, whatever, the Italian dude, I don't like the level of competition, and I don't like that he's getting finished by kind of like a jabroni level of competition. Like he's getting choked by nobody jobbers. He's getting knocked out by nobody jobbers. Charrier, I mean, yeah, like to your point, I do think there's some fights that he probably could have won if he had like mashed on the gas a little bit or like, you know, showed a little bit more like urgency. I don't really think that's going to be a problem here, though. I think Zucchini's going to force the fight, and I think he's going to get knocked out. So I think Charrier is going to get himself a nice KO victory for the French crowd. Vive la France here.
All right. JB, you ready or you want us to move on?
No, dude. I like this fight. I agree with just my 2 cents. Like, I think this is a good one to just put in a small parlay. You don't got to go over the top in case you think, Zucchini's going to knock him out. And honestly, I just don't think the other guy, like you said, he's getting finished by guys who are super low level, and he's getting finished by moves like triangle choke. You know what I'm saying? And this is in France. I think this is a clear setup spot to get the Frenchman a win on a French card,
Great.
on an already weak card, get a big finish, get the fans excited. I think this is a clear spot for Charrier, even though he has 9 losses on his record.
8 decision losses.
8 decision losses, and I don't know how Zucchini wins a decision in this spot. So give me Charrier. I think he's going to be able to at least make it to the judges' scorecards with him and probably get the win from there.
Yep. Yeah, it's minus 340 right now, plus 270 on Zucchini. The over 2.5, only minus 105 right now. So they're expecting to finish. So might be an interesting spot here. I think we'll see a lot of overs here. All right. William Gomes starting out the main card against Giannis Gamori. Giannis 12-1, French on French action here, so no French side will be chosen. But yeah, he's 12-1 coming into this fight. Variety of KOs and subs, had some decisions. It's been over with Brave for a little bit now, which I like. He's another guy who fights to a lot of close decisions at times, but very good striker as well. But yeah, he was supposed to face Colin Loughran, and then they switch around the card, and now he gets put with William Gomes. With William Gomes, I just think he's going to be far more technical, kind of, a much larger opponent as well. So it's a weird switch up of opponents here. So I would expect for Gomes to catch him, put him away along the way here. So I think he probably gets the finish. I know he's had a couple weird split and majority decisions to start out his career. I think he'll be more aggressive and get the finish in this one. But yeah, I just think he is a really, sharp guy. I think he has good striking, and I think his first couple fights not quite representative of his overall ability here. And now he's going against a guy who I'm not sure is even UFC caliber at a division I'm not sure he's going to be comfortable in. So, JB, what am I missing here?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't. I don't know if I trust Gomez to keep this fight clean as he wants to. Like, if Gamori is able to come forward and make this a dirty fight, we've seen Gomez have trouble with that in the past, especially if he's not able to get the grappling off. And that's the thing. I think he's going to have to mix in the grappling here to get the win. But I do side with you with the favorite here in this spot. I think he gets the job done. He has the UFC experience already. And he's going up against another guy who is making his debut himself here. So I'm gonna go with Gomez here, but I have no strong confidence in it whatsoever. Maybe I'll put him in the small parlay as well with Bachelorette and the last guy.
Yep, fair enough. 2 cents. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I did not tape this new opponent really. And I like Gomez. I have no action here, but I'm
with you though, bro. Like I did a little film and I don't even really care about this fight. I'll be honest with you.
It's like this is the one like replacement thing where it's just kind of like I thought Gomez was gonna. I thought it was a little bit tougher of a spot for him just stylistically before here. I don't know. Like I just like Gomez for the pick, but I have no action or real vested interest in like I like William Gomez as a fighter. I think he's a little bit better than he gets credit for sometimes. And I'm just really more interested to see what they give Gomez after this, like I do for a young guy. Like I think he's got some of the ingredients that I like to see what happens with him. But yeah, I think he'll probably, I don't know, it's another French dude, probably like Gomez decision. I don't know.
Yep, fair enough. Let's move on. That's the first fight on the main card. So congratulations to Giannis on making the main card. Bogdan Guskov taking on Bolden Ostomere here. The Uzbekistani fighter likes to strike. He likes to go in there and punch hard. 2 subs, 12 KOs. Most of them coming early in the first round as well. He also was knocked out by I've seen this guy on a bunch of Valasevskis as well. So not a bad loss, but knocked out pretty early on in that one. Just overall, he's going in there against pretty low level of competition that he's putting away. He has gone over to Brave for a fight where he went to third round and got a knockout, which was good to see. Really strong boxer for the most part, going against Volkan Ostomere. Not a bad finisher himself. Both guys have 12 finishes. Ostomere kind of has lost that violence for quite a while now, though. He does have that split win over Rakic, and then decision over our fallen hero and rising hero, Paul Craig. Paul Craig KO parlay or prop till I die. I just don't have enough of a kind of a feeling on Bogdan, and with Ostomere, like I don't really know where he's at in his career at this point. He seemed to have more than slowed down. I think a fight like this, I could see him, using a lot of cage pressure early on to wear down Bogdan, kind of test on the gas tank. But yeah, Bogdan might just come in here and spark him. It would not surprise me. Ostomere's been taking a lot of damage along his career. So again, it's just kind of one of these things that I think it probably goes to a decision, but yeah, I'm not betting Ostomere as a heavy favorite at all. Bogdan,
you think it goes to decision?
If Ostomere wins, yeah.
Plus 300, bro, just for the fight to go to distance, bro. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if violence is still on for Ostomere at this point.
I agree.
And Bogdan's going to be trying to finish, but if he doesn't, he could get real sloppy. So, yeah, I think this is an over that I might be looking into. So, 2 cents. What's your thoughts on this one?
Man, just another one that it's like I could not be happier to pass on this motherfucker. Like I just like saw it and instantly was just like, no. I don't think so. Like I even said it Monday on my stream. Like I just can't decide what they're trying to do here, but it seems like one of two things. They're either like Switzerland's pretty close to France. They might be giving Volkan like a more winnable fight. It's certainly not the level of competition that he's been fighting. That is one. Or they're saying like they've done with, I'm not saying he's on Jiri's level, but maybe they're like, okay, we think we might have something here. A win over Volkan will catapult him into the discussion. So it's like, I just don't really know what they're trying to do. I definitely am not. I have no fucking interest in trying to parlay Volkan upwards of -200. No, thank you. But Bogdan, I don't really know. Like on tape, he looks like a decent heavy-handed striker. Like it doesn't take usually much more than a really fucking heavy punch to like put Volkan on skates. But like Volkan's like this dude is probably like level of competition wise one of his easier fights. So like I don't fucking know. Are they throwing Volkan a bone here? I just have no idea, man. Pass for me. I'm gonna pick Ostomere to like use his experience and grind out kind of like a fucking greasy split maybe. But I ain't touching this motherfucker. Give me Volkan though.
Yeah. No, I think that we're kind of on the same page. -185 money line on Volkan. Yikes. +155 on Bogdan. If you're not betting the KO, I don't think there's anything to bet but Bogdan KO or Volkan by whatever method you feel. So, or just don't bet it at all. So that'd probably be the best option. All right. Next fight, third.
No. You gotta let me talk about the last one, bro.
Did I not go to you?
Nah, I definitely didn't talk about that one.
I thought you did. My bad. Go.
No. It's all good. It's all good. I see how it is. You not trying to let the Jew shine. I'm just playing.
There's only room for one Jew.
There's only room for one Jew in this house. No, I'm just playing. Dude, I actually think, you're good, dude. You're good. Who the F has Guskov fought? Who the F has Guskov? He lost to a guy. Like we were just talking about getting finished by low level of competition. This guy did the same, and he's going up against a guy in Volkan Ozdemir who may have slowed down. He's fought the way better level of competition. And he's gotten wins in between that as well. So I think this is -180 is kind of a gift, if you ask me. But I think the finishing ability, like you said earlier, of Volkan Ozdemir is gone as well. So I kind of like the over as well. But instead of taking the over, I think I'm going to go +300 just for the fight to go the distance flat out. A lot of Volkan's past fights have won the distance beside versus Jiri. Like, are we going to knock him by getting finished versus Jiri? I don't think Guskov is finishing Ozdemir because he's finished a lower level of competition. If anything, I'm more worried that he's going to get finished. So I'll go with Ozdemir here. I actually think he should be probably around -250, -260.
Okay.
And maybe even just this little tiny quarter unit sprinkle on the just fight goes the distance or over 2.5 +220 and like +300.
Yeah, no, I actually do like that. And, in the last fight with a guy like Krylov, who I believe has like finished all but one or two of his 30 finish fights. Like he went to a decision there as well. No, I actually do not mind that at all. So my bad there. Sometimes I'm like forgetting who I go to first.
Nah, you're good. It's all good, homie.
Yeah. All right. Third from the top.
I told him to do it.
Yeah, he was like, get rid of him. Get rid of him. Invite him on and then don't have him.
Damn
all
Jew.
Right. Yeah, damn Jew, exactly. I can say that. Benoit Saint Denis taking on Thiago Moises. This is a very good fight. I will say that right off the bat. I'm really excited. I think they're very well matched up, these two. I think Benoit Saint Denis, probably the more kind of aggressive dog of the two of these guys. And Moises, to me, just a little more of the tactician, and he's faced the better level of competition as well. And I just think that I really am going to – I saw the line. I saw the dog here. I didn't agree that he should be a dog. So I've had a bet on Moises all week. long at plus 130. I rate his jiu-jitsu a little bit better. I think he's going to be the one who ends up getting on top in this position. And I think on the feet, very, very close. I think both guys will have their moments on the feet. So if it's two grapplers canceling each other out, I think, it becomes basically a pick 'em. But I think that Moises could get him down. I think he could control him for some time. And, I don't know if this fight gets finished by Moises, but I think Moises could kind of put on a little bit of a overall clinic here. I think he's the much better guy. I think there's an overcorrection happening from that Ismail Bonfim fight. So I love Ismail Bonfim, but Bonfim's lost 3 other times and in very similar ways. And yeah, I like Moises here. I think it's going to go to a decision, but Moises by sub would not surprise me either. But this is, I think, a dog I was expecting a lot of people to be on. So it's been kind of more scared than I was expecting, but I'm glad to be on his side at plus 130. JB.
Yo, I'm totally with you, dude. I think this is getting a little bit ridiculous. Bonfim, he just completely ignored the defensive aspect of fighting. He said, right. Screw defense completely. The wins before that, Gabriel Miranda. Yeah, I can't even keep a straight face. Right. I can't even keep a straight face.
You were frozen. I was like, dude, is he really thinking about
Nicholas Stolze? Come on, dude. Come on. Like, let's just be real here. And in the fight before that, he gets absolutely mauled by Dos Santos, however you say his name. I think, Moises, too many people are busy. And that's the thing. There's a certain point where, you think value is value. And I've seen people dead wrong on those sides week after week. And I think a lot of love is still coming in. Benoit St. Denis at a minus 155 number. People see the steam and they follow it. I don't think it's the right side. I think, how is he plus 300 against Bonfim and then minus 155 favorite against Thiago Moises?
I have no clue.
Who's surviving with Islam Makhachev in there for F's sake. I think he's got the better grappling. I think he's the more clean technical striker, and he's not going to just abandon his defense.
He's so much bigger than Ismail. Also, he's an actual 155er.
You're right. Go watch the Hernandez fight. I mean, that's a good one to compare, and he was able to get through that one with flying colors. He always finds a way to win as well. You want to say Michael Johnson was piecing him up? Michael Johnson has fast hands, and he still found a way to win that fight. Just goes to the ankle lock, figures out a way. So Bobby Green figured out a way as a big underdog there. So I'm with you on Moises here. Let's go. I'm riding with you.
Yes, sir. Just my 2 cents.
God, I just gotta fucking be the bad guy once again. I gotta fucking. Nah, I'm not trying to burst any bubbles, man. I think if you're betting, it's Moises is absolutely the side. He is the better grappler to me. Especially the jiu-jitsu. Maybe overall, I don't fucking know. I'm not a grappler, so I'd just be talking out of my ass more than I already do. So, I think from a betting standpoint, yeah, Moises is the side. Man, if it goes to the cards, though, I'm gonna be sweating for you boys if it goes to the cards. Just because Benoit is so he's an up and coming prospect, he's the badass French special forces dude. They're gonna be fucking cheering for him. But I don't know, man. Moises is certainly a higher level competition than he's ever fought before, and Moises, when he does get it going and he's having his way, especially if it's grappling, man. I definitely don't want to be holding a Benoit St. Denis ticket.
Dude, I think he could finish. I think he's actually going to try and finish him early with a submission to avoid that.
On his back, if he gets on Benoit, if Moises gets on top of Benoit, oh my God, you do not want to have Benoit parlayed. I'm not going to. I'm absolutely passing on this one. It's dog or pass. I'm passing, but I'm just going to be a fucking buster and pick Benoit because I'm too pussy to bet Moises here. And yeah, just to be a contrarian prick for the show, Benoit, but no confidence. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, minus 155 on Benoit. Listen to 2 cents. Steam it up. Plus 130. Staying there right now. So
yeah, y'all can blame it on me. Yeah, y'all can say that I influenced
gas in that line. Keep it up. All right, co-main event time. Flyweights here. Manon Farron taking on Rose Namajunas. I mean, you can go back and watch Rose fights, or you can just honestly what's up, JB?
Oh, no. I was responding to the dude in the comments. He asked if I bet it. I did not bet that fight on Moises.
Oh yeah, Zach. Yeah, Zach asking. I'm the only one to bet it so far, Zach. And then Moises plus 3.5 seems like a good play if you like that side. I do like that. Shout out to Furio Bets. And then plus 165 finish only on DraftKings. So yeah, this is a fight with Rose Namajunas. She's just kind of another mental head case for me that I can't trust at all at this point, and I think has kind of been checked out of the game for a while now. I think she's being clearly used in this spot to catapult Manon Farron. They need a new star in this division to take on Shevchenko and eventually, whoever, but most likely Shevchenko. And I think that Manon Farron is going to kind of put a little bit of a beating on Rose. I really think this could get ugly. I think Rose has been checked out for a while now. You can even go back to her grappling bout with my girl Jillian, where Jillian just disposed of her in under a minute. Like that's a red flag. I love Jillian, but that's a bright red flag. And it just is like, why is she doing this? She's not taking a fight with a woman in France because she's like, I'm re-energized. I'm going up to 125 now. She's on her way out. She almost retires every fight at this point. Her coach in her corner says it's good when she's fighting, not fighting. And like, just, yeah, I got to go with Manon Farron. And I get it. She's minus 185 against Rose. It's like, whoa, but Manon's the actual flyweight. She's very aggressive. And on the feet especially, and I just don't know how Rose gets this done. Like, I really don't. So I think Manon's in a lot of my parlays, and maybe I look really stupid, but it is what it is. It's the game we play. 2 cents.
Sorry, dude, I was hitting the apple fritter. Cheers, boys. But yeah, man, God, this one is so greasy. I feel like a broken record when I give this take, but in a vacuum, without take away all the intangibles, the what like trajectory they're on, what headspace is Rose in. I feel like that comes into play a lot with Rose Namajunas fights. But take all that shit out, like Rose should win, but given the the fights don't take place in a vacuum. I don't like. This is another one where I just said, like, with the last fight, dude, if this hits the fucking cards, you do not want to be holding a Thug Rose ticket. Like,
of course
not. I am not as high on Manon Farron as some people. I do think she is going to fucking end up catching a fucking beating at some point. I think she's been a little overhyped. I've seen her I watched her get lit up by fucking Jennifer Maia. I just don't think she is everything that she's being advertised as. But to your point about Rose, like, she's weird to me, man. She's a head case. She can be a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde. I just think if it's close, honestly, man, I could see this fight ending by like greasy split decision going to Manon. Actually, I think that is what's going to happen. Like, I think Rose is going to have to finish Farron, and I don't know if she will, just because it's a big spot in enemy territory. Like, I just don't all the time know what I'm getting from Rose. She's someone that I just never really have a strong read on. But yeah, give me Farron here by greasy split. But I'm not fucking touching this fight, man. It's not a bad fight. It really is. Like, I'm not gonna like shit on the matchup itself. Like, Farron's
I think Rose going to 125 makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't get it. That's another thing. It's like, I don't know, man. I think she is a strawweight, but
she retires after every fight.
Yeah, and if it's Manon having success, like Rose does get touched up like in the boxing. Like she was getting.
Why do you think the matchmakers made this fight? Do you think they made it as a way to bounce Rose back?
Exactly. Preach it, brother. That's the kind of mind.
Sometimes, yeah, and it's just, and also, this is gonna be, it's gonna be on the feet. I think for the entire time, and I think Manon has way more volume than Rose has shown in her last 6 fights.
If Rose does get the grappling going and gets on top of Manon, it could be a different story. But I don't know. I think we could see Rose kind of looking like a deer in the headlights and it just kind of being a staring contest. And if that happens and it's
Manon
relatively
wins
close,
yeah.
they're not going to rob Manon in Paris. So yeah, give me her by split.
Yeah, I would definitely say that Rose is way better on the ground. It's not even close.
Oh yeah, absolutely, she's better.
Who's better on the ground? Rose by a mile, but I don't see how she gets it there, and I don't see her putting it there. JB.
Yeah, I don't think her offensive wrestling is going to be good enough to, and just the physicality aspect. Like, I don't think she's a true 125er, as you said.
Not at all.
Also, just there's only so many times you could repeat the cycle and just keep moving on. Like, she was able to win the 115 title. Nobody thought she was going to be able to do that, right?
Sure.
Lost it. Got it back again. Nobody thought she was going to be able to do that. And, goes and defends it against Carla Esparza and loses the title again. Now she's going to move up to 125, try and make a title run. It just doesn't make that much sense to me. I just don't see Lightning hitting 3 times again. And I think this is where it all stops in Paris. Keep making that Manon Fiorot line better, betting on Thug Rose. I think she's going to get some public money in on her as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of this sentiment, I'm taking Rose to redeem her boring fight. She doesn't care about that. Like, I agree. So we're all on Manon Fiorot at different levels of excitement.
This is one fight I might wind up getting the bet on. I just think she's going to be the more technical, not just the more technical kickboxer, because Rose is technical herself. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, I think she could match her there, and the power I give to Fiorot. Maybe just not just pure punching power I give to Fiorot. And I think once Rose feels that, she's going to be in for a long night.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this minus 185 much more than the
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it minus 170 on some sites, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet. I'm hoping some more public money comes in on Rose, and I might get to a bet on the Fiorot money line. No, I don't see it getting finished at all.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So that's a co-main event. Not a bad fight at all. It just Rose at 125. The way she looked, even again in that the grappling bout with Jillian, she was probably closer to 125. I don't think she looks like that good at physically as she's moving up in the weight. So I'm kind of curious how her preparation will be. I don't believe she's fought overseas too often either. It's in France. I like the minus 185, but I'd love for the price to get a little better. And then plus 155 on Rose. Main event time. Serghei Spivac, Cyril Gane. This is a fight that I'll be honest, I kind of went back and forth on. Initially, I was like, Cyril Gane, bro. Cyril Gane is just going to beat this guy, beat him down, avoid the takedowns, and, just avoid having to answer any of the grappling kind of issues. But as I've gotten closer and closer to this decision, it's about Eurotrash here. And I think that, I get it that Serghei Spivac has had his moments. He's been put away, but I think that Cyril Gane, I'm curious to see how he bounces back from that John Jones performance, just because it's like my biggest concerns on both sides are the ways that both guys are going to attack each other. So I just think that Cyril Gane is going to leave a little bit too many opportunities for Serghei Spivac to get that grappling and the wrestling going. And I think once it gets started, I think it could kind of turn into a few rounds of wrestling before Cyril Gane gets subbed. So I've ended up on the Serghei Spivac side. Not proud of it, but yeah, I just think that I got to go with Serghei here in this spot. I think that the 5 rounds is going to be interesting to see how that goes for both fighters. And who kind of has the advantages as it moves into the later rounds, if so. But it's not a fight I'm getting too invested on. But I think that Serghei by sub would be, my side. So I'll take Serghei by submission. 2 cents.
Oh my God, baby. What's that? What's going on? Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to be any shocker which side I'm on, but like, man, come on. This is like, do you think, like, this is just more like a rhetorical question, but do y'all really think they set up UFC, Pelé, second time for history ever for that? Do you think they set that up for some former Soviet Republic Eastern Bloc motherfucker to outshine Cyril Gane? No. The answer is no. This is absolutely a setup fight for Cyril Gane. He is going to fucking obliterate Serghei Spivac. Serghei Spivac is a slow, non-athletic, chinny fucking quitter. And Cyril Gane is way closer to the level of Tom Aspinall, and certainly more than Walt Harris, but he is way closer to that level than fucking Serghei Spivac is to Francis and John Jones. No, this is a setup for Cyril Gane. He is knock this guy out first round, second round, KO. Oh my God, baby, that's a great thing. Viva la France.
Can I clap?
Yeah, of course. We always welcome clapping.
That was beautiful.
I've never been on the right side of one of those rants either.
No way.
Oh no, he always gets these right. He did this with Chris Duncan. He's done this a few times, but it's okay. I'm going to be unconfidently on Serghei Spivac.
I bet this is the only fight I bet so far. 1.8 units on Cyril Gane. 1.8 units on Cyril Gane to win 1.125 units. At minus 160. It was the last minus 160 that I saw on the market. I stole it before I lost it. Next best was Bet Online, minus 163. So I beat the line by a few. Luckily, got a good line on it. They were able, I think they were limiting the fight too, but I called in and they were able to upgrade the limits for me. 20 minutes later, they bumped it up to minus 170. So I feel like I made the right move since I wanted to get it on the Cyril Gane side. So let's just talk about it a little bit from a technical standpoint, right? The thing is with Serghei Spivac is he's going to have to find a way to get a hold of him. I think with these unathletic guys like Derek Lewis and Augusto Sakai, he was able to use his boxing, which did look improved. I will say that in his last two fights, Serghei Spivac looks physically improved and with his boxing looks improved compared to, some of the earlier fights like he mentioned, like Walt Harris. That was his UFC debut, and Walt Harris at the time was knocking out everybody left and right. So let's not get that mistaken. And this is heavyweight. To put together a win streak is quite hard to do off the rip. Like, let's be honest, not many people are winning 3 or 4 fights in a row at heavyweight, and Serghei Spivac has been able to put together some winning streak at this moment in time to get him into this spot, right, against Cyril Gane. I did see Cyril Gane fight before. I saw him against Derek Lewis here in Houston, and he's quick, man, for a heavyweight. Like, that footwork is something that I wasn't expecting because there was guys that were fighting at, I remember seeing guys fight at 155, right? And they weren't as quick with the footwork and the kicks and the punches as Cyril Gane. And that's something that really stood out to me. And he absolutely butchered Lewis that night. Like, Lewis didn't even get off one strike. He just picked him apart at range. And that's what Cyril Gane does. He was on his way to doing that versus Francis Ngannou until Francis Ngannou surprised everybody in the arena that night, including myself, by taking out his wrestling shoes and wrestling Cyril Gane. And the thing with Francis Ngannou is once this guy gets on top of you, good luck getting, that human being off of you. And his technique in that fight was actually really good. Chain wrestling, getting his hands locked, just good cage wrestling against Cyril Gane. I don't think Serghei Spivac, I think people on the Spivac side think, he gets this fight to the ground one time and it's over. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure about that because we've seen guys like Augusto Sakai be able to get back up. Carlos Felipe, he wasn't able to take down, in some of those fights. And you look on paper, right? A lot of statistics guys will look on paper, and it's saying 5 takedowns per 15 minutes for Serghei Spivac. And I think that number is a little bit skewed because a lot of these takedowns are counted as mat returns, and that's something that Serghei Spivac does. He'll let you get back to your feet and he puts you back down to the mat. But I think he gets away with that versus these kind of slow, unathletic guys, right? Who aren't quick to get back up to the feet, turn back into him, get an overhook, get an underhook on the other side, turn you back into the cage. And I think, Cyril Gane is good enough to do that. If Serghei Spivac's even able to grab him, because he's going to have to close distance at first.
Yep.
How is he going to be able to close the distance if he's not able to strike with him? I think, in the bigger octagon, I've seen Cyril Gane do it time and time again. He's going to be able to float on the outside. Eventually, Serghei Spivac is going to try and clinch up with him, and I think he's going to catch him exactly how Tom Aspinall did, in my opinion, and elbow him over the top. Does he put away Serghei Spivac? I'm not sure. The other thing I see about Serghei Spivac is he overreacts to every single feint. Good luck with that against Cyril Gane because he's going to make you pay for that. He's going to make you pay for that, and he's going to be throwing knees and uppercuts up the middle to prevent Serghei Spivac from shooting. So Serghei Spivac's really going to have to find a way in with the hands to just get a hold of Cyril Gane. I'm not 100% sure he's going to take him down with a body lock inside trip like he did in his last 2 fights. And where he had success with that inside trip, I think Cyril Gane's going to be able to defend that, play the anti-clinch game, just like we saw with O'Malley last week, and get the job done just striking. I could even see Cyril Gane taking this to the 5th round and just picking apart Serghei Spivac. I honestly think Serghei Spivac's going to look lost. And even if he gets this to the ground, I think Cyril Gane's defensively good enough against the submissions. Oh, he got submitted by John. It's John Jones, guys. Like this guy's black belt world champ. He's the GOAT. Mm-hmm. He's an Olympic level wrestler, if you ask me. And the stuff he was doing in that fight, another chain wrestling guy. I just don't know if Serghei Spivac's that guy. And I'm going to go with Gane in this spot. I think if we didn't see that John Jones loss, he'd probably be at minus 400 here, in all honesty. And I think he's had to improve something, right? Like he's had to try and improve some type of aspect in that game. So I'm going to take the guy who is not going the distance with Carlos Felipe and has only lost to Francis Ngannou and John Jones. Give me Cyril Gane.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's pretty convincing. And very well said by both of you guys. And honestly, flipping back over to, Gane. So I flip back and forth.
Dude, I bet on it. I better have a good breakdown.
I didn't bet. Yeah, I have not yet bet on it. But yeah, this makes me a little more willing to throw it in with something. So I think very good points by both of you. So well said. They're minus 165 on Gane, currently plus 140 on Serghei. Over 2.5 at plus 125. So we're expecting to get done early. But gonna give the Zhongli, then we'll give our final little thoughts here. I was able to concoct a 5-piece without some of the newer fights that don't have lines available currently. So this is available. I put on DraftKings right now. You can probably find it elsewhere for a little better, but we're starting with a few of the prelims. We got obviously Farid in there. I get he's minus 340, but I like Farid a lot in this spot. I got my first dog at Reese McKee. I'm betting him at plus 150 to be able to anti-wrestle Lusa, who isn't even going to guarantee the wrestling. And I think that overall, I just like McKee in that spot. Moving on to the main card, I have Morgan Charrier in the spot. I just think he is the much better fighter. So, and I had 9 fights to choose from since 2 of the fights aren't available. So, and then Manon Fiorot, Thiago Moises, the dog who should be a favorite in my opinion here. Better level of competition, better grappler. I just think I really do like his chances in that one. And then Manon Fiorot. So again, the final Zhongli or the France Zhongli parlay, and it is at plus 1385 currently, is Reese McKee, Farid Bachelorette, Morgan Charrier, Thiago Moises, Manon Fiorot. Put 20 on it for the culture if you want with me right now, or however much you want. But yeah, it's $300 on it. So $300 if it comes through. Zhongli was just in the chat a little while ago. Shout out to Zhongli. Final thoughts on the card before we take off, JB.
Okay, yeah, no, 100%. I think this fight last fight, I think a lot of people are assuming this fight goes under. I'm not 100% sure it goes under. I think Cyril Gane likes to play a little bit. He likes to show off, be a little fancy, pick you apart at range with the body kicks. And I could see another late round 3 knockout, which he's done time and time in the past against his opponents.
So an over 2.5, you like that? All right. I like it.
But my only bet on the card is Cyril Gane so far. After talking with you guys, I might be taking a stab on Manon Fiorot or Thiago Moises. But no bet officially on those yet, and I doubt I'll get to them.
Right on, man. Well, always appreciate having you on, man. You're always welcome anytime, any place. 2 cents. Final thoughts on the card.
First and foremost, thank you as always,
Yeah,
Aaron,
thank
for having
you.
me on. This is always a real treat. This is one of the highlights of my week. JB, always a pleasure to be on panel with you. I think this panel fucking kicks ass and would definitely love to do it again soon in the future. Best of luck to both you gentlemen. Best of luck to everyone in the chat. This week, as far as betting, is going to be pretty light. I only have one unit, and it is centered around I'm just sticking to the script, man. Like doing what has brought me success recently, and that's just going with my gut on the fighters that I'm most confident with. I got a parlay with Gane and Bachelorette. That is the core of my slate. That's like plus 114, and then I have another parlay where I added Morgan Chalier, and that is like plus 247. So that's the majority of my slate. But I tell you what, I just opened up everyone's favorite pariah book, Bet MGM, and they've given me they gave me a $20 bonus bet last week, and I cashed it, and they just gave me a fucking $50 one, and I'm really going to struggle to not put it on Gane by KO, but that might end up what I'm doing. But once again, thank you. I will be back on Friday on my channel to break down the weigh-ins. I don't really know what time it's going to be, but and also I might be on the pub podcast tomorrow. But that's all for me for the rest of the week, dude. Thank you again. Best of luck to everyone, and viva Cyril. Bon gaming, Gonforat.
Yep. Appreciate you both. It's been great as always. Appreciate the chat. And yeah, we'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow with the LFA card. I just got to finish taping that, but LFA 166 will be up tomorrow. So I'll put that up. Check that out. And then we'll be back next week. Good luck this weekend. Bet it lightly, boys.
Oui.
Oui.